I'd like to bring up to the stage to say a few words our current city manager, Mr. Eric Elwinger. Come on up, Eric.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, everybody. Good to see you this evening. Thanks for being here. It's an honor to say a few words tonight as we recognize and celebrate someone who's devoted many years to the City of Allen, Councilmember Chris Schulmeister. Chris and I share a unique bond in our service to the City of Allen. First, we're both originally from Iowa. Go Hawkeyes! And somehow we both found our way to Texas and to public service. We also officially came into our most recent roles at the same time. And for the last 6 years, our paths have run in tandem, navigating the challenges and triumphs that come with serving this amazing city we both call home. I'll be honest, if we'd have had a crystal ball to tell us what we'd faced in the last 6 years, I might have had some doubts about taking on this role. However, after 6 years of knowing and working with Chris and observing his character and love for this community, I know without a doubt he would have relished the opportunity to face the coming challenges head on. And face them he did. Now, looking back, I hope everyone here can agree with me that Allen is no doubt a better place for his service. That said, I don't want to shortchange Chris, so I must mention that before his election to City Council, Chris was already a familiar face in Allen, actively participating on both the Allen EDC and CDC boards, serving as president of the ACO board and as finance chair for the 2016 Capital Improvement Program, among many other community service efforts. In those roles, he helped pave the way for some of the amazing things that have come to fruition during his tenure on council. The recruitment and retention of many successful Allen businesses, the expansion of Allen's parks and trails system, and the completion of numerous capital projects, including the opening of the Stephen G. Terrell Recreation Center, Fire Station 6, and the Molson Farm Trailhead, just to name a few. And while Chris might have trouble picking a favorite project, I'm sure his wife Jeannie would like me to remind him that his favorite is no doubt the expansion of the Allen Public Library, which will be completed this fall. Throughout his time on council, Chris has been a champion for good governance, careful stewardship of city resources, and thoughtful strategic planning for the inevitable growth that comes with a vibrant and successful community. Always willing to ask the hard questions and never willing to compromise his integrity or ethics, Chris has shown us all what a servant leader truly is. Thank you, Chris. So Chris, thanks for your service to the city, and personally, thank you for your friendship over the last 6 years. I really appreciate it. Now, as hard as it is to say goodbye to Chris, it's made so much easier knowing who we get to welcome and welcome back. While we will get a chance to hear more about these two at the regular meeting tonight, I couldn't let this opportunity go by without congratulating our fantastic Mayor Pro Tem, Ben Trahan, on his re-election. And I can very confidently say that the city remains in very good hands with incoming council member Amy Knott. Congratulations.
Okay, I forgot to ask one more question. If you're an elected official please raise your hand if I did not mention your name. Okay, our school superintendent, I can see her in the back of my head. She's walking in. Robin Bullock is here. Now, I would like to have a few council members come up. They said they wanted to say a few words. Michael Schaefer, place one. Come on up, Michael.
It was about 18 months ago when I was thinking about running for city council. And Chris, you're one of the first people I called. I'd worked with you on the Economic Development Board. I appreciated your approach to things. And Dina and I knew as we got together to potentially run a campaign that we wanted Chris and Jeannie in our corner. And they graciously accepted. And I remember one night we're at their house, we're game planning, and we're getting ready to leave. And Chris reaches back and he hands me a binder. And he goes, "That's information on boards and commissions." I go, "Oh, thank you." And then he reaches back and he hands me another binder. He goes, "That's city policy info. You're going to need that." I'm like, "Okay." And he gives me another binder of important issues that I'm going to have to get caught up on and study. And then he gives me another binder. And I walk out of there. I mean, I feel like a first-year law student, a little overwhelmed. But then you have to look back and go, you know what? That's how Chris works. He's a student of the game, if you will. Okay? And if you go into a debate with Chris without the facts, that's very much like walking in with a knife to a gunfight. You know, it's not going to go well for you. But that knowledge of the both, past and present city procedure and policy will be missed. I don't know how many council members you guys know who can cite both the Allen City Charter and the Allen Land Development Code in the same sentence, right? Like, I certainly can't. But Chris, I just want to say thank you for your mentorship, your friendship, for leading with your heart, for serving with a purpose, for fighting for what you believe in, and reminding us that great leaders don't set out to be great leaders. They set out to make a difference. And that's what you've done. And what you leave behind isn't just written in the ordinances and resolutions and policies that you help shape. It's in the fabric of the city of Allen. It's in the lives of the people that you've touched and made a difference in along the way. I'm certainly a better council member for the mark that you've left behind. And so I say, go enjoy some much-deserved rest. I know Jeannie's having fun filling your calendar. And do us one favor, okay? Try not to run for the HOA board, okay? Or start a Schulmeister Unplugged podcast with special guest Mike Moran, you know? I mean, and so I'll just leave you with, even though your microphone on the dais may be turned off, the standard and the tone that you've set for the city will still ring loud and clear. God bless.
Tommy Berry, Councilmember Berry, place number 2.
So I was blessed to get the opportunity to meet Chris Schulmeister about 12 years ago when I was appointed on the Community Development Corporation, CDC. And at that time, there was no "you got to meet Chris." There was none of all that hoopla. It was just 2 individuals on a board of 7 with a focus on just serving the community. And I was going in there open heart, open mind, open ears, and just trying to take in how to do it. And it became very clear very quickly who I needed to follow, who I needed to watch, who I needed to listen. It was somebody who paid attention to the facts. It was somebody who asked great questions. And just as importantly, it was somebody who had a heart that was true to Allen, and a heart that was true to making Allen greater than it was today, even though it was already great at that time. He was always encouraging to me. He was always open to what I had to share with him, and I really appreciated that. And what that really created, and Mike alluded to this, was when he stepped off the CDC to go to EDC, it created a hole. His presence was missed. And we've had great successors on the CDC behind you and behind me and others, but your presence is very much treasured everywhere you go because you do leave such an indelible, amazing, positive impact on what you do. And as I look to this next year, I know we're very blessed to have Amy sit in that seat, but your presence is going to be missed. And I just thank you for doing that. I'd be remiss to not acknowledge another person, and that's Jeannie. You know, I haven't gotten to know Jeannie for 12 years, but over the last several years, I have gotten a chance to know Jeannie. And you talk about somebody as a community who's underappreciated or just isn't as well known as Chris Schulmeister, but somebody who has just an amazing spirit, such an amazing human being, so wise, so insightful, and I'm just so blessed to be with her when I am with her, and I know Holly feels that way. I know the city, everybody that knows you, Jeannie, feels that way, and we thank you for sharing Chris with us over the years, and we just thank you for everything you and your family have sacrificed over the years, and we love you guys very much. Thank you.
Ken Cook, place number 3, council member.
Well, it's so great to see so many people here tonight come out for Chris because, like Mike, I've gotten to know Chris, probably the new kid on the block, so I've got to know him over the least amount of time. But personally, I think I've absorbed as much knowledge as I think I can take from this man because he's got a history of service in the city that goes back over a decade, most recently on city council. And Chris was actually the last person I talked to before I decided to run for city council. So Chris, it's all your fault that I'm here. But thank you because like Mike talked about, when I first got on P&Z, I met with Chris and had already started to get to know him by that point. And he gave me similar advice, like take the information that's available to you and take it to heart and learn it because that's what you're gonna base your decisions on. And I did that, and I took his advice, and I got a printed out version of the ALDC because, like Chris, I believe I'm somebody who's better at actually underlining things and tabbing things off instead of trying to do it on a computer. It stays with me better. So I followed his advice, and I'm only hoping that I can follow in his footsteps on the dais and make the informed decisions that he has that shape the city. And I'm grateful for his friendship. It's the friendship of his wife Jeannie, who's done so much in the library and in the city, and I'm just blessed to know Chris Schulmeister. And so enjoy your time, officer. You deserve it.
Place number 5, Mr. Carl Clemich. Come on up, Carl.
Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for coming out tonight. Chris, we've known each other for a long time. You're a friend, a mentor, and somebody I look up to. Every time I thought about running for city council, I always asked you first because I always thought you had a place up here on city council. And remember, you still have 6 years left, so you can run again. But we've done a lot over the years, and Jeannie, getting to meet you and work with you, especially through some of these campaigns, you guys are what make Allen special. Allen is a community where everyone comes together and they love the city they live in. And Chris, you embody that, you embody that. And I'm gonna miss you up there, but I know I'm gonna see you back again. So thank you very much for everything you've done for the city and everything you'll continue to do. Thank you.
One thing about Carl, you're never wrong. Okay. Sorry about that. Mayor Pro Tem Ben Trahan, please come on up.
One of the first things I learned about Chris is that he challenges you. He doesn't challenge you to make your point better. He doesn't challenge you to see what you know. He challenges you to be the best that you can be for the benefit of the city. Kind of intimidating in one of our first workshops. I said something, I forgot what I said, and I said, I tend to think in bullet points. It's like, well, I don't. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I feel, and I'm gonna take my time. I learned then and there that he's led by his faith, he's led by his family, he's led by his integrity. I learned a lot from him over the past 3 years. One of the things also I learned is that he wants to kind of do what's best for the city, however we get there. Doesn't matter if we all agree, doesn't matter if we all think alike, doesn't matter if we all hold hands, and he's one of the first people to call you the next day and say, look, I disagreed with you, this is why, this is my thought process, and he helped you understand where he was coming from. And very few people have the confidence to do that. Just an unbelievable servant. I've called and asked his counsel on certain things outside of city things. Just how do I answer this question from a citizen? How do I interact with this organization? So kind of a well-rounded relationship, I feel. I know Jack and Dean are looking forward to having a lot more time out in the yard and whatnot. And so I think it's incumbent upon me just to say thank you for guidance and over the past 3 years. So thank you again. So.
We're all here in recognition of Chris Schulmeister. As a longtime resident here in Allen, Texas, an active member of our community, Chris Schulmeister was elected to place number 4 on the Allen City Council in 2019 and re-elected in 2022. This afternoon, we gather here to celebrate his service and commitment to our city after completing his 2 consecutive terms here in the city of Allen. Chris' dedication to serving his neighbors and shaping Allen's future began with his work as a member of the Allen Community Development Corporation. He later joined the board of the Allen Economic Development Corporation and served as the Finance Committee Chair for Allen's 2016 Capital Improvement Program, a program in which voters approved all 5 bond propositions. Excuse me. A strong believer in service first, Chris has held numerous leadership roles, including president of the board, president and board member of the Allen Community Outreach, past president and current member of the Allen Sunrise Rotary Club, past finance chair and active member of the First United Methodist Church of Allen, past president of the Allen High School Home Run Booster Club, see his son over there, and steering committee member of the Collin County Martin Luther King Jr. Appreciation Day. As a member of the City Council, Chris has served as Mayor Pro Tem from 2021 to 2024 and was an integral member of several committees and boards, including the Nominating Committee, Mayor's Committee, Council Finance and Audit Committee, Allen Economic Development Corporation, Convention and Visitors Bureau Advisory Board, Regional Transportation Committee, Collin County Transit Study Committee, NCT 911 Board of Managers, and Downtown Steering Ad Hoc Committee. He hasn't served at all. Additionally, he served as council liaison to the Board of Adjustments, Community Enhancement Advisory, Downtown Design Review Board, Public Art Committee, and the North Texas Municipal Water District. During his tenure, during his tenure on the Allen City Council, the council lowered the tax rate 6 times, hired Allen's 3rd city manager, Eric Elwinger, and led efforts to improve the quality of life for residents. His service helped bring critical infrastructure and community enhancement, including renovation of Fire Station Number 2 and construction of Fire Station Number 6, expansion of Allen Public Library, design and start the construction of the new police headquarters, multiple park developments, including Rolling Hills Park, Stephen G. Terrell Recreation Center, and Community Park, and Allen Heritage Guild. And he also was a part of more than 15 miles of new trails and the opening of Molson Farms Trailhead. It's a part of the rehabilitation of streets, utilities, and drainage in established neighborhoods. Also part of public art projects such as Perpetual Flux at the Allen Event Center, all in at the Don Rodenbaugh Auditorium, and the Stephen G. Terrell Trail Enhancement, and the Allen Gateway Bridge, illuminating the night over US 75. Remember when we went through that project? Oh my God, Chris Flanagan, oh my goodness. It was, and now it's lit up. Anyway, having served 5 years as a board member of the Allen Economic Development Corporation, Chris understands the importance of a diverse commercial tax base and responsible spending of tax revenues. Over his 6 years on the council, collaborating between the City Council and the Economic Development Corporation and the Community Development Corporation, led to the attraction of major employers, strengthening our local economy and reducing the tax burden on Allen taxpayers. During his tenure, companies such as MD7, NetScout, Netflix, Strike Photonics, Solarc, and the credit union of Texas headquarters relocated in Allen, fostering the growth of vibrant mixed-use centers. Chris also played a role as a member of the council welcoming new instructions of developments to Allen, including Collin County Technical Campus, One Bethany Class A office development, and major data centers such as Cyrus One and Compass. Most recently, the city announced a potential expansion of this small little thing we got coming called Kalahari Resorts and Conventions into DFW market. This Kalahari Resorts has plans for 123 acres along 121. So today, I joined the Allen City Council, all these members that have come up and spoke, and the entire community here in Allen, Texas, expressing deep, deep gratitude to the Honorable Chris Schulmeister for his leadership and contributions. His service will leave as a lasting impact on the Allen generations to come. Now, I do have one thing I got to talk about Chris. I love Chris. We love each other. We both came in 2000, or he was elected in 2019. We got to know each other. But boy, we can debate each other. And wake up the next morning, like you said, well, this was my point, this is my point. And we just, we got along, but boy, we had some debates. But let me tell you about Chris's heart. Someone mentioned earlier, he does lead by his faith. And he's a man of integrity. But the best part of Chris is Jeannie. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. So I have a little tradition I do. She's a lot smarter. I know. Chris, come on up. I have a little tradition I do. Usually I give out this bottle of conundrum because the last person I gave it to, we always had a conundrum. But today, I got to give you some hope. Hope that you just enjoy your life, enjoy retirement, enjoy your family, those 2 grandsons, and enjoy Jeannie. And you need to get your handicap down. So this is a bottle of hope.
A bottle of hope.
Austin Hope.
Okay.
Okay? So I want you and Jeannie to enjoy this. I'm going to give it to Jeannie. I want you to enjoy this. And I want you to know that I have enjoyed serving with you. I've enjoyed the fun, the laughter, the wine, all the fun that we've had. I remember we were standing out at the polls, and you said, I'm Chris Schulmeister, and I said, I'm Little O'Bain, and we just thought it was so funny that we just did all this together.
Yeah.
So thank you for your service. Thank you for your integrity. And like Carl said, I'm not going to say it, but Carl was right. We'll see you on the next time. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, gosh, I really don't have anything to say. I guess I'm going to go home now. I don't know how I can top all that, but I am humbled by all of the kind remarks, and I really mean it. It's overwhelming. I was talking to Mayor Brooks a couple months back, and as he pointed out that I first ran in 2019, and he was also running for re-election, and we would get together, and I remember, and I'd asked him about, gosh, time has really flown by, and I remembered how lucky I was to be running along with Bain, because I was smart enough to just hang on to his coattails and ride myself to victory because he's so popular. But we talked about how it just seemed like a few months ago when things started, but as we looked at things, and 6 years is a long time, and a lot of things have happened, and just like in your personal life, the life cycle of the city, there's certainly a lot of ebbs and flows, right? And for us, whether it be a pandemic or regrettably a mass shooting in our city, we as a city certainly had some challenging and difficult times. I'll never forget the day when families lost their life, people lost their lives by doing an activity as simple as shopping at our outlet mall. What it did, though, is it brought us together, and I think it really, that's my grandson, it helped us come together and really define the true leadership of our council, of our city leadership, and also so many in our community. We really rallied around one another, and that was a refreshing thing to see. We were resilient, and we did a lot of things, and I know we talked a lot about some of those, like we continued on with the 121 corridor that's managed to increase our commercial tax base and diversify our local economy. The Downtown Steering Committee, which Councilman Berry had a big part in, has positioned us to begin our work on the downtown redevelopment plan, which is, I should remind everyone, is one of the most demanded, prioritized items that our city residents have asked for. But more than anything, I think we all had this idea that, or this commitment that what we wanted to do was continue that success trajectory that our predecessors had defined for our city. So, but a few tidbits. Did you know that during my 6 years in city council, I served under 4 mayors? No one will ever beat that record. Mayor Terrell, Mayor Stout, Mayor Falk, and of course Mayor Brooks. And it was like playing for 4 different head coaches, right? You're kind of like, okay, put me in, coach, I'm ready to play. But it wasn't really that difficult because the great thing is each one of them had a common characteristic, and they all genuinely loved the city of Allen. So that certainly made it easy. Another tidbit, and Eric Elwinger made this point, is we started together in 2019 and took our oaths. And of course, he was named the city manager, and fortunately, Mayor Terrell and the council at the time allowed me to share some input. But I think it was one of the best decisions. I know it was one of the best decisions we've made since I've been on council. And there's an interesting story. If you look at the video of me on city council in the 2019-2020, you would see me sitting in the seat that Councilman Cook currently sits in today, right next to our city manager, Mr. Elwinger. So some of you might remember, but we were going through this contentious downtown redevelopment, and there were some apartments that people were considering, and the residents of the city were just not happy. I mean, it was quite a raucous group, and I'm sitting there thinking, my God, what in the heck have I got myself into? Robin said, Logic, it's your fault because I replaced her. Yeah. So I sat there, and so I'd go to Eric and I'd hit him on the leg, and I'd say, man, can they say that? And he'd go. And then I'd hit him again. I'd say, well, what are we going to do about that? And he'd go. So after a while of that, if you look at the council meetings today, I'm sitting over there with Shelley because he got tired of me hitting him. Would somebody get rid of that guy? But really, in all seriousness, we've had a great working relationship, Eric, and more than that, again, as you said, our friendship is one of the best. I've always said that, and to Allen residents, and of course some of my council members, as Michael pointed out, is when you come onto council, you find out really quick that running a city is extremely complicated, and you really don't know what you don't know, and it takes you a while just to kind of figure out what the heck am I doing here, and I learned quickly that I had to work really hard if I was going to do anything to make a difference here on the city council. And I think if you watched me work over the years, and I hope you would, you'd know that I took my role in city council very seriously. I studied hard. I sought input from my fellow council members, from city staff, and I sought input from many Allen residents. I even sought input from Allen residents that weren't particularly fond of me. But I did make decisions based off of what I thought was best for the city. I never made a decision to try to appease a certain demographic in the city. I never made a decision to try to appease a certain political party. And I didn't ever try to make a decision to appease one area of town, whether it be the east side or the west side. An issue that some people like to try to use to divide our city. Allen is an exceptional city. It's a really unique city, and as I said, a community that really rallies around one another. We're an inclusive city where people really genuinely care about their neighbors. We have great partnerships, the city, the chamber, and the school district, that ensures, I believe, our success going forward, more so than any other city. And I've been around long enough to notice that. Recently we did a survey. Chelsea April, our director of communications, did a community-wide survey. And in that survey, it said that 80% of Allen residents express high levels of community pride. No city the size of Allen, what we learned, can make that statement. So I think it's a lot to be proud of. It has never been lost on me that I've had the privilege of serving this city from the people of Allen. They've trusted me to listen to them, to speak for them, and to conduct myself with integrity. It has really been an honor to serve the city, and I'm so grateful to so many of you here today and so many that aren't, that have encouraged me and advised me over the years. A lot of you know who you are. There's too many to count. I learned, so many people that never voted for me have become my friends over the years. And I learned that we agree on a lot more things than we disagree on. I'm grateful for the opportunity to work with such an outstanding group of city council members over the years. And I will say this, I think I'm leaving where I think it's the finest group of individuals that I've ever had the privilege of working with, this current council member. And I know Amy Knott, you're going to do a great job, Amy. You're going to take that careful study that found you success on the Allen Independent School District, and I know you'll do a great job. I'm grateful for the city staff, our exceptional city staff. It's if there is anybody that can do their job better than our city staff, I don't know of them. And one of the good things about me, during my time, I got to serve on a number of city regional boards, Regional Transportation Council, the North Texas Municipal Water District. And what I learned real quick is that our city staff is one of the most well-respected staffs in the entire region. And if you get to know them, you'll find out really quick. Thank you. And I'm grateful to my pastor, Mary Beth Hardesty Crouch. I don't know where she went, but from First Baptist, yes. Who occasionally came to this council chamber and stood outside with me, outside the chamber before meetings, and prayed with me, prayed for me, and prayed for our city. So thank you, Mary Beth. It's because of you all, I'm a better council member and a better person. And finally, my family. I think we all know that the foundation of a family is so critical to your success. They're the ones that encourage you, and they're the ones that lift you up. And I want to thank my sister, my sister, Georgine Montgomery, who's always been there so supportive of me. My son, John, and my daughter-in-law, Brooke, are back there, of course, my grandsons. And of course, I thank my wife, who's been with me. Yeah, she is indeed the smartest person in their family, so has been with me all along the way. This job can take a toll on you, and I mean it. I mean, sometimes you come home and you are just beaten down, and there's nothing better to come home to a wife that's encouraging and lifts you up, and I'll always be grateful for that. So. So Jeannie and I moved to Allen in 1984. Yeah, I'm that old. And we love this city, and we're proud to say that this is definitely our hometown, and we're extremely proud of it. And I want you to know that we're not going anywhere. I'll be around, and I look forward to continued success as mayor. Thank you for the time. Thank you all for being here.